Hi everybody, Kaiwaza with you, and it's time for us to journey again into my Hawaiian record collection, about 2,500 Hawaiian records. So we're in a very long series of videos of just sharing the records. And we are in the letter D, and today the video is going to just be one artist because I have quite a lot from this artist to show you. It's Charles K.L. Davis. So let's get started and look at these records. Now the first ones I have are his mainland recorded albums. This one is Adventures in Paradise. Now on Everest Records, Charles K.L. Davis actually won a Metropolitan Opera Voice of the Air or something or other contest in the late 50s, and it catapulted him to a career on the mainland. He sang opera, he sang show tunes, he sang all over the New York and all over the West Coast and all around, and had a very successful career. Eventually came back to Hawaii. But some of his records on the mainland were, of course, Hawaiian. He is a part Hawaiian person, and we know him as Charles K.L. Davis. That's how we pronounce. That's what we say here. But the Hawaiian name he has is very, very long, and I don't see it on this one, so I'll read it on the next one I see. But anyway, this one was an album of Hawaiian songs: South Sea Island Magic, I Wish They Didn't Mean Goodbye, I think Sleepy Lagoon, Love Song of Kulua, some sort of Hapahauli sort of standard songs. Another one that was done on the mainland by him at the Royal Hawaiian, being the Royal Hawaiian Hotel. He did perform at the Monarch Room at the Royal Hawaiian Hotel. And I love this cover. Right? This has Beyond the Reef, Kona Kaiopua. It's a mix of Hawaiian and kind of Broadway tunes. Another album on the Everest label of Hawaiian songs of Hawaii. Now this is with the Tom Monty Orchestra, again on Everest. Malia, No Lupe, Hukilau, Blue Hawaii. It's a mix of Hawaiian songs. I like the artwork on that also. So he had a very operatic voice, right? Songs from the Magic Islands. Now these two albums, this one and the next one I'm showing you, are on Decca Records, which is a mainland label, and they were both under the orchestra, or under the direction of the orchestra and chorus of Henri Rene. And it's interesting because when I worked at Hawaiian Radio, KCCN, I put a couple of songs from these two albums into rotation on the station because they were not playing anything from them. They had Charles K.L. Davis, but not these two albums. And the response was interesting to me from the other Hawaiian DJs there, was that they all said, well, they love his voice, but they don't like the arrangements on these albums because they're kind of, they're definitely the arrangements that somebody from Hawaii would not do to these songs, and they are a little bit in your face. However, I really enjoy these albums because they are different. Particularly the song I love from this one is Waipio, also called Beyond the Rainbow, that Henri composed a really beautiful counter melody to, and I really like it. And check for it on Hawaiian Leisure Hour. If it's not up already, I'll put it up. I like it a lot. Tropic Trade Winds is nice from this album. Pua Carnation. Then this is the second album they did together. Hawaii's Golden Favorites, also on Decca. I particularly like White Ginger Blossoms on this one. Again, it's an arrangement that probably somebody from Hawaii would not do, but I think it works very well. And this album used to belong to Mr. and Mrs. Theodore Berger of Portland, Oregon. Now we go into the period where he has come home. At some point, Charles K.L. Davis kind of retires from performing on the mainland, comes back to Hawaii, and records albums on local labels here, and is very successful and very, very well loved. This is probably one of the best albums he did here. Hula Records, Charles K.L. Davis, At Home. These are all Hawaiian songs, a lot of them quite I mean, there's Pa'oa Kalani, there's some standards here, but there's Keawa Iki, but there's also a few songs that are very seldom heard. Mahina Malama Lama, Aina Malu, Avaya Ulu. I really like these songs, and these are really simple and really nice arrangements of them. I don't know what's going on next door outside something. Here's an album that was recorded with a duet album. Charles K.L. Davis and Nina Keali'iwa Hamana, who we will see showing up on a lot of other people's albums and a few of her own, but mostly on other people's albums. The two of them together, two of the really better known voices in Hawaii, and very distinguishable voices. And these are all compositions on this album of the local composer R. Alex Anderson, who did a lot of well-known Hapahauli kind of songs, particularly Lovely Hula Hands, you probably know, Kakaid Mero Kauna Kakai. But on this one they do a lot of his other songs, Soft Green Seas, White Ginger Blossoms, a song called Miss Hawaii, which is actually used at the Miss Hawaii America pageant. Used to be, I think until a couple years ago. They finally stopped using it, but when they crown the Miss Hawaii and she takes her walk down the aisle, down the runway, they played this song. Hawaii's Yesterdays by Charles K.L. Davis on Hana Ho Records. This one's really nice too. It has, we're into the 70s. This doesn't have a date on it, but these are like the 70s. This has acoustic steel guitar accompanying it by Jerry Bird. And so these are older songs. Naughty Naughty My Ne, Kanaka Nui Hotel, Kukuna Okala I think is really nice, or Rays of the Sun, really nice song. And the acoustic steel guitar is nice, so it really gives the feeling of, and particularly with his voice, his style of singing, it really is kind of like what the music would have sounded like in the 1920s had you been able to hear it live rather than on a 78 recording or a cylinder or something. It's a good reproduction of probably what it really sounded like. A couple more from him. This one is called Songs of Hawaiian Royalty, Charles K.L. Davis with the Kauai Ha'o Church Choir. Kauai Ha'o Church, one of the oldest, if not the oldest, I don't remember, in Hawaii, but it's very well known. That's the church choir. And these are all songs either composed by, or one of them about, Hawaiian royalty. In Hawaii we had monarchy for I think about 150 years, I think it was. And the royal family, the many members of the royal family, were very well educated in the Western sense, and they also were very musically inclined, and many of them wrote many, many songs. Aloha Oi being probably the most famous, being written by Queen Liliuokalani, but they wrote many, many songs. And these are some of them. Charlie sings Kolohe, which means kind of rascally or funny or crazy. This is a cute album. This is 1981. End of the News. He does a really funny version of My Little Grass Shack. Uncle Harry is a really funny song about missionaries and how the downfall of Uncle Harry became, not such a good missionary. Finally, from Charles K.L. Davis, and I do believe this was his last album. He had some things, I think, reissued on CD era, but I believe this was actually his last recording. And it is a duet album with somebody who I'd never heard of, called Charles Pietsch. who, as it turns out, was not a professional singer. But when Charles K.L. Davis was back in the islands, he performed at the Willows, he performed at Kemo'o Farms, he performed at several places. This gentleman would often, who was not a professional singer at all, would often show up, and they would often sing duets together. So they decided to do this album. It's a non-commercial album that they did together of a lot of a mix of like Hapahali songs and Hawaiian songs. So let's give a listen to some music from Charles K.L. Davis.
The cocoa palms and your sweet aloha calls me to your arms. Every dream that happened has at last come Hotel. Lewahi te Filipino, at Inuka whiskey, too much Spanish Uapela, San Sebastian Hotel. Animaleco, hombre, Idaho, Ikahiu, Ikaon, Napeakalau, Okaniu, Ikaulu,
I hope you enjoyed those, and it dawns on me that I never actually gave you his Hawaiian name, Charles K.L. Davis. And the Hawaiian name, excuse me, because it's kind of long, and he never used it here. I mean, it was always just Charles K.L. Davis. But the Hawaiian name, very long, as some people have, it's Keona Ona Laulani. Keona Ona Laulani, which means fragrant leaves from heaven, and then the L stands for Llewellyn, which is a Welsh name. So it was Charles Keona Ona Laulani Llewellyn Davis. Okay, so that's it for today. If you like that, please subscribe for more, and we'll see you next time.